I'd like to now welcome and invite Dr. Hendrik Schoenfelder, the President for the region Middle East and Africa for Evonik, to give his presentation. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dalia. Salam alaikum. Dear ladies, your excellencies and gentlemen. This is the first time and hopefully the last time in my life that I need to apologize for my presence on stage. You rightfully expect the CEO of Evonik Industries, Mr. Christian Kullmann, to discuss with you today, but unfortunately he could not come today because of an unforeseen logistic event outside our control. So here I am for today, and of course it gives me a great degree of pleasure to fill in for him today, and it's a great honor to address all of you in this prestigious event. The GPCA Forum is a meeting point for leaders of the chemicals and petrochemicals industry in the Middle East, and I would like to thank in particular His Excellency Mr. Al Benyan and Dr. Al Sadoun and the organizing team for putting this fantastic event together, a great platform facilitating partnership and giving us, Evonik, an opportunity to speak. Now today, growing global competition and continuing digitalization are major challenges, and in addition, the markets in which we are doing business are changing more quickly than ever before. And to meet those challenges, one lever is to more rapidly and more consequently adjust the company's portfolio along its strategic path. Now, as a result, high volume of merger and acquisition activities continue to be a very strong driver to excel, and Evonik is responding to that situation by strategic portfolio optimization along with its strategic partners. Now, I hope I'm doing the right thing here. So first, let me start by giving you a brief overview about Evonik. Evonik is certainly already today a leading specialty chemicals company, but it aims to earn the attribute best in class, and here are some of the numbers defining it. So in the fiscal year 2018, Evonik achieved sales revenue of 13.3 billion euros and an adjusted EBITDA of around 2.2 billion. We already earn about 80% of our sales from leading market positions, and we have constantly been expanding that number. Most important, over 32,000 people work for Evonik in over 100 countries. This is a truly diverse and global team that we are particularly proud of. Now, Evonik stands for attractive businesses and the power of innovation. Although we neither manufacture car tires, towels, or mattresses, nor tablets or animal feed, all of those products do contain a little piece of Evonik, along with many others, of course. And very often it is a specialty chemical that makes a difference. With Evonik, the tires turn into fuel savers, the towels become more fluffy, mattresses more elastic, tablets more efficient, and the animal feed better digestible. In such a situation, partnership along the value chain is key. In-depth cooperation and joint innovation with our customers is a core competence for a specialty chemical company like ours. Now, headquartered here in Dubai, Evonik has been operating in the Middle East and Africa for over 50 years already, and today we are operating 9 regional offices, 4 technical service laboratories, and 2 production plants. And I need to stress one of the latter. We do participate in a joint venture in Saudi Arabia together with our partners Tasni and the new Sipchem for the production of super absorbers. A very fine example of strategic partnership. Now, this Middle East and Africa region has a population of 1.5 billion people already today, and it's expected to reach 2.5 billion in 2050. And we heard that already in previous presentations. An even faster growing middle class expects higher living standards, and as a result, they have greater expectations regarding their nutrition, housing, infrastructure, consumer products. And of course, Evonik serves all those industries with a wide range of products. due to the nature of our business, with the requirement for strong partnership along the value chain, our success depends on our attention to the specifics of local and regional markets. And we therefore operate a rather high number, considering the size of the company, of 9 offices with a decent number of sales and technical service personnel to give us the customer intimacy that is needed for our approach to provide chemical solutions. Now, our corporate strategy is based on 3 pillars or focus areas, how we call them. First, a more balanced portfolio with a focus on specialty chemicals. Second, leadership, excellence, and customer-oriented innovation. And thirdly, an open and performance-oriented culture. And that combination of the 3 is a foundation of profitable growth of the company. And we started to implement this corporate strategy with the advent of the today missing Christian Kuhlmann as CEO of Evonik in May 2017. And I want to now elaborate in more detail, in particular, on the first of those 3 pillars. So in terms of our portfolio, we want to focus more on businesses that are characterized by a high level of innovation, continuous growth, attractive returns, and a certain level of resilience in the face of economic variability as we see it today. A consequently more balanced and more specialized portfolio is essential to reach our pretty ambitious financial targets. We want to see growth in our margin and earnings, so we want to increase our adjusted EBITDA margin on revenues to a range of 18 to 20%. We want to achieve a volume development that outpaces the global GDP growth. So at this moment, we expect a little bit more than 3.2% per year. And we want to see a stable free cash flow generation. We're aiming for a level that is high enough to completely cover our needs for sustainable dividend payouts. And those are ambitious targets to be reached in the rather near future. We hence can only consider value-enhancing acquisitions with a high synergy potential and an adequate purchasing price multipliers. Investments in companies with very long time for break-even or considerable risk would certainly not fit into that picture. So we need to be very cautious in selecting the partners to work with. We are orienting Evonik toward growth markets and high-margin specialty chemical businesses that fit well to our existing competences. We have consequently defined 4 strategic growth engines onto which we focus. It's health and care, smart materials, animal nutrition, and specialty additives. And within these growth engines, Evonik will be using its resources strategically for investments, innovations, and acquisitions. Now, the innovation efforts concentrate on 6 growth fields within those. They are advanced food ingredients, additive manufacturing, also known as 3D printing, sustainable nutrition, membranes, cosmetic solutions, and healthcare solutions. And last year, in 2018, Evonik achieved already sales of over 250 million euros with new products coming from these innovation growth fields. And our aim is to quadruple that number in the coming 6 years to reach more than an additional 1 billion euro in sales by 2025. And at this moment, we are pretty good on track reaching this goal. Let's have a look at our portfolio management activities. I'd like to mention a few examples of the recent past. The Air Products specialty additive business further strengthened our position in the specialty additives growth market, in particular if it comes to the coatings industry. The Huber silica business allowed us to expand our activities, in particular in markets for consumer goods. You may have used them this morning, toothpaste, a prominent example. And the acquisition of Dr. Straetmans, that was a very small but powerful purchase that complements Evonik's broad portfolio of specialty products for our cosmetic business. Now, acquisitions of whole business areas from peers are maybe the most extreme form of partnership that you can think of. And for many of you in the audience, it's needless to say that post-merger integration is a science in its own right. And at Evonik, we have not exercised that science for quite some time, I must admit. And the more are we proud today that our way of integration, which is characterized by maybe a bit more tolerance towards remaining particularities of the acquired businesses, has turned out to be successful. And the new family members, they provide very decent contributions to our results already today. We announced another acquisition at the end of 2018, the purchase of PeroxyChem in the United States. That company perfectly complements our existing business in hydrogen peroxide that's used in water treatment, bleaching, and electronics. Now, unfortunately, the Federal Trade Commission, or FTC, in the US, which is responsible for acquisitions and consumer protection, has filed a lawsuit against the planned purchase. However, we remain confident that our arguments will prevail at court and that we will be able to conclude that very meaningful acquisition eventually. We also improve our portfolio by selling or closing non-core businesses. Last year, for example, we sold the plant at our Jayhawk site in the US, which manufactured precursors for agrochemicals to Pemira. And this year, we divested the methacrylate business to Advent International. It's interesting to look at the partners with whom we engaged in those two cases. Both investors are private equity companies. Particularly in the latter case, additional investments, possibly into a market experiencing a downswing, are needed to fully exploit the future prospects of those businesses. And strategic investors with maybe their own stringent capex restrictions may not have been the perfect partner for us to execute exactly those divestments at this moment in the economic cycle. Now, over the past several years, the importance of mergers and acquisitions in the chemical industry has increased tremendously, as you see from the chart. And reasons for this include lower growth expectations and fewer investment opportunities in the global economy, as well as a lack of innovative power among individual companies in our industry. So players do seek opportunities outside their immediate reach. Another driver is currently the higher assessment for more specialized companies at the stock markets, or turning the logic around, the conglomerate discount. Now, hence this phenomenon drives the portfolio optimization of diversified groups and steers available capital toward acquisitions that are creating more focus. Now, on top, capital is abundant in many of the markets we are operating and is lowering the bar for financing even major acquisition projects. Now, these three factors, a lack of organic growth, premium for focused companies, and inexpensive funding, results pretty much in a seller's market. Sales price multiples for the few specialty company product businesses that remain available are well into the double-digit area. So you sense it, it is a seller's market, and that renders acquisitions very expensive at this moment. And that, inter alia, has made us turn towards alternative ways to boost innovation and enhance our portfolio. And a very interesting one is Evonik's venture capital unit. It is their task to provide an additional link to Evonik to the technologies of the future. And in February of this year, Evonik set up a second venture capital fund. Our contribution of additional 150 million euros more than doubled the total volume under management to 250 million. Now, increasing the fund volume underscores our ambition of establishing Evonik Venture Capital as one of the world's leading investors in the field of specialty chemicals startup. Since it was established in the year 2012, Evonik Venture Capital has invested in funds and directly in companies over 30 times already. And each year, this unit reviews over 600 relevant startups and has so far concluded another 200 so-called cooperative agreements. Now, when selecting the investment opportunities, we're not only assessing the risk-reward ratio of these companies as such, but we are particularly searching for innovative concepts that are geared towards the Evonik's growth fields we described earlier, to provide future complementation, synergies, and cross-fertilization with our core competences. Advancing digitalization is today's challenge to master the future, but above all represents opportunities for efficiency gains for the entire industry, but also differentiation potential for those of us who do it quicker and better than their competitors. An exceptionally large portion of the anticipated changes will have disruptive effects on the chemical industry. And in this dimension, I'm not so much thinking of the hefty efficiency gains that come from automation, robots in the plants, seamless integration of production and supply chain, order-to-cash process, better e-commerce platforms. Almost all of us in the industry will continue to pursue these topics, and it will make us a better and more efficient industry as a whole. When I think of disruption, I'm more thinking about the way we're interacting with our partners along the value chain. How will the advent of artificial intelligence change the way we look at supplier-customer relationships and then turn it into more intense partnerships? Is the consequential intensity of cooperation in jointly operated alternative ways in AI systems even a prerequisite to the circular economy, which plays such an important role in the future world? And we have heard in yesterday's presentation by both Bob Patel and Saori Duberg how much of a center of gravity the concept of circularity constitutes today. Now, we are at Evonik. We are determined to drive that development and not be a follower. And that's why we established a dedicated legal entity, Evonik Digital GmbH, which is exclusively devoted to digitalization. We have budgeted some 100 million euros for developing and testing digital technologies and for establishing the corresponding expertise. Our experts collaborate with technology companies and promising startups in that field. And as said earlier, digitalization touches all areas of Evonik: R&D, production, logistics, sales, marketing, after sales. In which area do I expect the highest potential for disruption? It is, again, when it comes to affecting the partnerships along the value chain. And we are working on some revolutionary concepts in that area. So for instance, in the coatings industry, we are developing an artificial intelligence-driven software that allows our customers to directly in their laboratory obtain formulation advices, sourcing information from the entire wealth of experience that Evonik has with its additives and the interconnection with the other ingredients of a coatings. A similar concept is under development for the cosmetic industry, where we also plan to directly link it with a new e-commerce platform. And maybe the most exciting project, at least for me, concerns the chicken farm of the future. The keyword is precision livestock farming. And what it entails is a whole set of sensors monitoring the condition of a poultry flock 24/7 and optimizing the dosage of all required nutrients in response to the animal's needs. And you can imagine that those examples have the potential to enhance the relationship to our partners along the value chain significantly. Mutual trust and also the tolerance of mutual interdependency is required at a level that goes far beyond the typical customer-supplier relationships that many of us have been used ever since. So the world of chemicals turns faster and faster. The movement towards consolidation will continue. At the same time, new competitors are entering the market in many regions with particular competitive advantages. And added to that, digitalization has the potential to change current business models in a radical way. Overall, we must expect competition in the chemical industry to become even tougher and more dynamic in the future. And that is why Evonik is taking action today. We ensure that we will be prepared to meet the many challenges that thrive in the future. And as I have hopefully been able to bring across today, expanding the portfolio of cooperation modes with strategic partners, maybe peers, investors, or customers, will play a pivotal role in that quest. Thank you very much for your attention.